We're back on our front porch this week on Pole House Backpot Weekend Getaways. We're showing you something from our cookbook, and we're gonna use some frozen fruit.
Can we use this frozen fruit and get a successful recipe for a cherry crisp? Stick around and find out.
Yep, stick around. This is Wade, and I'm Angel, and this is Iris, and we are Pole House Black Pots Weekend Getaways, where we show you all things yummy to cook in cast iron as we visit different places. Well, hello.
Yeah, welcome.
If you're a first-time viewer, we're glad you've joined us. If you've been watching us all along or for a long time, thank you for joining us.
Yep, and welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. We're on our front porch again. It's been awful wet.
Yeah, we had a minor ice storm last week. Luckily, it was not much power outages, but a lot of slick roads. All places were closed.
A lot of schools were closed.
And then we had drizzle, nasty, foggy, rainy all week, and today finally we just barely now getting a little bit of sunshine, and it sure looks good.
There's still patches of snow. My grandma used to say it's waiting for more, but we think we're not going to have any more for a while.
Supposed to be a little warmer, even a couple of nicer, warmer days this week, but it's mid-30s today and a little cool still, but we got good.
We are doing something that we've shown. It's in our cookbook. But we're doing a variation of a crisp that's apple in here.
Yeah, apple crisp in there.
But we're using frozen fruit, which can cause some troubles. We're going to show you how we fix it to where it actually comes out. We're also going to tell you how you can get one of these if you haven't already. We have some of these, and we would glad to get them to you.
Yeah, we can.
One thing we'd like to say is, we've got a cookbook, but you really don't need a specific Dutch oven recipe to cooking Dutch ovens.
No, you don't. A lot of people would ask us when we were doing our demos, well, I need a recipe because I got a new Dutch oven. I say, well, no, you don't. If you cook and you have recipes, you have a Dutch oven recipe.
Fact is, there's only two things that we feel that you wouldn't want to fix in there. One of them's angel food cake.
Yeah, you'd really.
And the other one's a souffle, and neither one of them like oil.
Yeah, that would be a problem with that.
Everything else you could cook in there, we haven't actually found anything.
But mainly with this cookbook, it kind of gives you a great thing. It gives you the ideas of how to use any recipe. So we have a cornbread recipe, but you could use your own cornbread recipe
and everything
make that same idea. Yeah.
Is for a 9x13. If it's different, we tell you.
That's right.
Just like we do on here.
Yeah, so we're going to do
we're going to regroup. We're making cherry crisp instead of apple crisp, which is your favorite, isn't it?
Yeah. Crisp is really good, so it's pretty simple,
But we're using frozen cherries. So we're going to regroup, and we'll come right back.
Okay, see you there in a minute. Okay, we are assembling. Now, we cut the recipe down from the cookbook, because that is for a 12-inch, and we're going to do a 10-inch. So, I started with 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar. To that, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of AP, or all-purpose flour, and a 1/2 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats.
Old-fashioned, not instant. They're old-fashioned. Not quite as good as steel cut, but still pretty good.
Next step, we also need to add butter. This is 1/3 of a cup. We're using salted real butter. Okay.
How many tablespoons is that?
I'm not for sure. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 1/3 or something like that. Because a whole stick is a 1/2 cup. We also have to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Doesn't fit down in there, it's alright. Like cinnamon, get a little extra, won't hurt anything. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. If you don't like nutmeg, you can leave it out and put in something else, like cloves or something like that.
Or Jamaican allspice?
Yeah, that would be good. Anything, whatever you're fond of. It's kind of up to you. Now, we have a pastry cutter. Works real good. If you don't have one of them, you can use a fork or something. The butter was softened, but not, of course, melted. So it's kind of room temperature.
We're going to get in here and watch you work this up a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's going to look crumbly when you're done, isn't it?
Yep, that's the idea. Kind of work it in, get all that mixed together and worked in.
I've heard of people using their fingers to do it too.
You certainly can.
We have a little Iris out here snooppervising. Say hi. Don't know what got her started.
I think we're about there, aren't we?
Well, getting close. You got a clump of butter on both sides that needs to come off.
Yeah.
It's still just a little bit cool out here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it doesn't have to be, perfectly, because it's kind of a crumble topping. If you were going to put it on something else, same idea.
Now, we did this apple crisp in what video?
I'm trying to remember when it was.
We'll put it underneath the screen.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll link that one with us,
Yeah.
that video. Okay. Now,
see, that's the way it looks.
clean that off a little bit. Get all the goodie off the.
Now, the rest of this is just so hard.
Yeah. Now, before we finish assembly, we're going to take a quick break from this, and I'm going to get the charcoal lit, so it'll be started good.
Okay.
So
We'll
be
be
back.
right back.
Okay, so we made nice crumbles, as you can see here,
See?
and the rest is very easy.
Oh,
Lid-
no, it's hard.
Lid off our Dutch oven. Okay, put that back down. Our cherries. This is probably about a pound of cherries. A good pound of cherries.
And they're frozen. Did you guys hear that?
They're frozen. They've been sitting out only probably about 15 minutes, so they're pretty
So what's the difference? What are you going to have to do that's different?
Well, as you can see here,
Explain the problem that we're
I
about
leveled
to
them
have.
out, right? And now, like I say, they're frozen. And I'll get to that in just a second. The next thing is our crumble topping. We will evenly spread that out on top of our
And no,
cherries.
he is not. I asked this question. He's not adding any sugar to the cherries.
There's
And those
plenty.
are very tart cherries.
Yeah, there's plenty of because when we did, if you look in their cookbook, do an apple crisp, and we use like a good baking apple, a lot of times a Granny Smith, and they're not very sweet either. They're pretty tart. So, that case, same way, we didn't add any extra. Now, the only thing you got to do is make sure that you evenly spread the crisp topping over top. Now, here comes the interesting thing. Well, I figured this out
The hard way.
the hard way. A few years ago, we were doing a lot of cobblers from scratch, and the easy thing to do on a cobbler was canned peaches. It still makes a very good cobbler. So you make your batter and you put your peaches in there, and then like I said, I always use a set number of pieces of charcoal, and you cook it about 30 to 40 minutes. You check it, and it's done. Magic. Well, I one time decided I was going to use the same recipe.
No, your brother had frozen peaches.
Okay, it was. Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
Brian had frozen peaches.
Yes, it was the same recipe. We used frozen peaches instead of canned. So canned peaches are room temperature. Frozen peaches, of course, were, quote, frozen. So I did
Well,
the same
they
thing.
were hard as a rock.
Poured them out, looked in there, and it wasn't even half done.
Oh,
So-
it was jiggly.
What was the problem? Well, I used the same amount of heat, but what you don't recognize and don't know is the fact that if you were to put this in a standard oven in your house and you want it, quote, 350 degrees, well, there is enough power, it has enough capacity to keep that oven at, quote, 350 degrees. Now, if I use a set number of pieces of charcoal, no matter where you put them, they're only going to put out so many BTU. So to get more BTU or more heat, you have to put more charcoal. And since the Dutch oven was full of cold stuff, all that sucked up that heat, and we didn't have enough to get them done. So you have two options. You can either load up a lot more charcoal and hope to get that heat up. You
and
can also
run the risk of burning the outside and having it still froze on the inside.
Or you could try to preheat the oven, which would also help some. But another way, which is what we're going to show you today, is even though it takes longer to cook, we're going to do a little bit extra, not much extra heat, but we're only using about the normal amount of heat. And that's 26 pieces of charcoal.
See, he don't have very much in there.
Yeah, to get us about 350 degree oven. And we'll come back after 30 minutes of cook time and get more charcoal going and added to it to keep that heat up for a longer period of time.
Okay, honey, how did you fix the problem originally at Brian's? What did you have to do?
Well, I think we put it in, were we in a rush? So we put it in the oven?
Yes, we put it in the oven.
Because we didn't have time to start more charcoal.
Well, and we didn't even have any more. We had just what we had.
So, lid on, and just about a few more minutes, the charcoal will be ready, and we'll get this crisp bacon. So we'll be right back.
How many minutes are you gonna wait till you start some more briquettes? 20?
Yeah, probably
Okay.
at 30 minutes we'll get the other added charcoal on here, so hopefully it's done in about 45 minutes.
So we'll be back.
Okay, charcoal's ready. Time to get baking. So, we're gonna do a standard bake. Let's go ahead and empty out our charcoal on top. Put some down here, which we're gonna go underneath. Come around here. And as always, we're doing our charcoal in a single ring under the outside edge of the Dutch oven.
Even though those are frozen cherries, you're still not putting one in the middle?
Yep, because that sweet in there can burn pretty easy. That's for sure. Okay, now, just like any other bacon, on top, we'll do a nice ring around the outside. We'll keep probably about 4 of them for the inside for kind of a checkerboard. Keep an even heat on top. Now, one thing that's a little bit different. If we're doing a normal bake, the things that cook about 30 minutes, we'll rotate about every 10 minutes. This one we're almost guaranteed is going to take closer to 40, 45 minutes. So we're probably just going to rotate it only every 15 minutes. So, okay, that'll be it. We'll be back in 15 minutes and give us a rotate. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. I rotated the Dutch oven a couple minutes ago, and now I've got get my lighter, excuse me. And we're gonna go ahead and start another. Usually to keep your oven temperature constant, you do about half of what you did the first time. So the first time we did 26 pieces of charcoal, and this time I put in 13. And then when those coals are ready, we'll do the same thing. We'll do 1/3 on the bottom, 2/3 on top. Should maintain our constant 350 to 375 degree oven for another good up to almost an hour. So we'll be back in a few minutes and get this job done.
We're in a hurry. The Chiefs are winning.
Okay, now didn't mention this a minute ago, but I went ahead and added the wind guard because we got a little bit of wind coming and going, and that wind is never our friend when we're Dutch oven cooking.
Especially when you got frozen fruit.
Yeah. So, we're going to just, on the safe side, double check, make sure we're not near done. We're doing okay, but
it's still not bubbling in the middle.
No, I think we're still not done. Hope we didn't get too much juice out of them berries, but that's okay. Okay, so the process of that, the next batch of charcoal was ready.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead.
Now, are you going to have to rotate?
I will probably go ahead and rotate. Probably wouldn't have to since we took the lid off, but it isn't going to hurt anything.
And you've got one briquette still on the bottom of that.
I do, don't I?
Yep.
Let me get stuck.
And if you notice, look at that. See how those briquettes are falling apart, especially that one back over there? That's why we're having to replenish. And he's doing the same thing you did before, 1/3 on the bottom, 2/3 on the top.
Yep. Now, you want to be kind of careful to kind of snick them in there without disrupting your other charcoal too much because they're getting kind of delicate. So you just got to stir them around in there and get rough with them. They're going to disintegrate and lose heat that much faster. I think I put that one more on the bottom. You didn't like to say 1/3 on bottom, 2/3 on top. Okay, that should get us, keep our temperature up to about 350, 375. And another 15 minutes, that'll get us a total of 45, and we should be good and done. Because the cherries, not like the apple crisp, but getting the apples done. Cherries will be done. We just got everything hot. Try to get the top crispy, because it is supposed to be cherry crisp. So we'll be back. I don't know if you can see it, but right there, there's steam coming out, and it's been 45 minutes. So we need to be checking it.
I smell it, dear.
All right. Yeah, we're definitely steaming. We've got enough, a lot of heat in there, and it's been 45 minutes.
Oh.
Lots of juice in there,
yeah,
unfortunately.
There's quite a bit of juice.
But I think we better call it being done.
I think we ought to too, yep. So we're gonna serve this, or we're gonna give this a chance to solidify a little bit and cool off, because that'll be a lip burner.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in just a minute.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Well, it kind of, we probably should have put a little more flour in it.
Or maybe had a little bit more. It looks like we had more juice, natural juice come out of the cherries than we thought there would. But,
yes.
So we didn't maybe have enough crisp on top, but
we'll see how it tastes.
Might still be a lip burner.
Mm-mm.
Still get it. We get it crispy on top.
It's good.
We did.
So.
And it is sweet enough.
It is sweet enough. Reach over there and grab that cookbook. The recipe for this is in our cookbook. They're $20 with $6 shipping and handling. You can get those at Pole House Black Pots, P.O. Box 212, Fayette, Missouri 65248, or on Venmo.
Yes, in the Venmo, look up Pole House Black Pots on Venmo.
And it's $26 there too. $20 for the cookbook and $6 shipping and handling. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Share us on Facebook or Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have subscribed, if I could say it, we thank you very much. We appreciate you. And remember, you don't have to have any special recipes for cooking in cast iron Dutch ovens out camping. So, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks again.